The objective today is to solve polynomial equations. And you're going to do this using the graphing calculator to graph the equation, to look for the roots, to see what you could divide the polynomial equation by, to try to factor it out and then solve it. Alright, so it's 4x to the fourth plus 16x to the third plus 17x squared minus x minus 6 equals 0. The first thing you need to do is try to find a list of all possible roots. They don't all have to be real roots, but you have to find a list of possible roots. And the way that you do that is this. You're going to use the last item in there, which is 6, here, and we'll make it plus or minus 6. And you're going to divide that by the first item, plus or minus 4. So what this really means is you start with 1. All of the factors of 6. 1, 2, 3, and then 6. All of those could be possible roots where they cross the x-axis on the graph. And these are all plus or minus. And that's just 6, all the factors of 6 divided by 1. Now we can go back and do 2. Here's 2, and we can do 2 over the next item down here, which is 2. Of course, 2 over 2 is 1. We already have that right here, so there's no need for this. The factors of 4 are 2 and 4. That's where I'm getting these from. The next factor of 6 is 2. Oh, we already did 2, but the next factor is 3. You could have 3 halves, so plus or minus 3 halves is a possibility. The next factor of 6 would be 6, so if I did 6 over 2, that would be 3, but we already have a 3 there, so there's no need to write it twice. The next factor of 6 would be, we could do 3. We already did 3, didn't we? We can do 4. 4 over 2. 4 over 2 is 2. 4 over 3 is 4/3. And 4 over 6 is 2/3. These are all possible roots. And then the next one is 6.
Pardon the interruption. If the academic team could meet in the lobby, thank you.
If I did 6 over 2, that's a 3. We already have a 3. So now we've got to do them over 4. So 1 over 4, we could have a 1/4. 2 over 4 is a half. I don't think we have a half yet. 3 over 4 is 3/4. 4 over 4 is 1. We already have a 1. 5 over 4 is still a possibility. And then 6 over 4 is the same as 3 halves. We already have that. So what we've done here is we've taken every factor of 6 and divided it by 1. Came up with all these. Every factor of 6 divide by 2. Every factor of 6 divide by 4. And just listed them and did not put duplicates on there. These are all the possible roots. In other words, where this graph is going to cross the x-axis. Now notice we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 things. This graph is not going to cross the x-axis 11 times. But these are the possibilities. So next up we have to graph the equation and see what it looks like. So we graphed this on a graphing calculator and determined that the following two items, -1 and negative 2 appear to be on the graph, where the graph crosses the x-axis. So what we can do is use that negative 1 and negative 2 back up on the other screen to divide that polynomial equation to see if we can start factoring this out. So here's what we'll do. You can pick negative 1 or negative 2. It doesn't matter what you start with. I'm going to choose negative 2. So negative 2 bracket. And we're going to divide it into the entire expression there, which we have a 4, 16, 17, negative 1, negative 6. We're going to divide this and see what we come up with. Okay, so we drop the 4, multiply to get a negative 8, add to get 8, multiply to get a negative 16, add to get a 1, multiply to get a negative 2, add to get a negative 3, and then multiply to get a 6 and add to get a 0. What does this 0 tell us about this division? There's no remainder. So this negative 2 goes into this evenly. So it is a factor of it. What that means is it's not just negative 2. Remember when we did this division before and we ended up with a negative 2? It meant it was really what in the expression? Positive 2. So what we really did is we divided x plus 2 into our expression, and we came back with the following stuff there. So we have 4x to the third plus 8x squared plus x minus 3. So we factored that out at least once. But of course we still have that 4x to the third, 8x squared, x, and minus 3 in there as well. But we still have another root that we haven't used yet. From back up here, we just divided by this. How about we divide by this? Negative 1. So come back down here and divide negative 1 into what we have left. The 4x to the third plus 8x squared plus x minus 3. So that's going to be 4, 8, 1, negative 3. Drop the 4. Multiply to get negative 4, add to get 4. Multiply by negative 1 to get a negative 4, and then add to get a negative 3. Multiply by the negative 1 to get a positive 3, and we end up with 0. So again, it comes out even. So we know that we started with x plus 2. We found that to be a factor. But now we just divided by negative 1, which means that's really what in the expression? 1. So it's x plus 1. And look what we're left with. 4x squared plus 4x minus 3. So we have three quantities now, but we still have that quadratic expression there at the end. And we can more than likely factor that. So here's what we have so far. We have x plus 2, x plus 1, and now let's try to factor this here. 4x squared. If I'm going to break up 4x squared, what two things can I multiply together to get 4x squared? 2 what? 2x and 2x. We can try that. And if I have a plus and then a minus in my expression, that means the signs in my quantities will be what? Plus and minus. If I have plus minus in my expression, the signs in my quantities should be what? Yeah, plus and minus. Now we need two numbers that multiply to get a negative 3. we don't have much of a choice. It's either going to be -1, +3, or +1, -3. So we can test. Let's just put a 1 here and a 3 there, and don't forget that's going to be -3. So we'll just put a -3 there. If I multiplied 2x times a -3, I would get a -6x. And 1 times 2x is a +2x. Is -6x plus 2x a +4x? -6x plus 2x, is that +4x? No, it's not. So we can try something different. We can try putting the 3 here and the 1 there. So let's put 3 here and 1 there. What if I did 2x times 1? That's 2x. Or 2x times a -1, I should say. I didn't write the negative. 2x times -1 is -2x. What about 3 times 2x? +6x. Is 6x minus 2x 4x? Yes. So that's right. We have 3 and then the 1. So there's your factorization of that polynomial equation. And once you have it all factored out, you can go back and solve each one of those by setting each quantity equal to 0. So let's do x plus 2 equals 0, x plus 1 equals 0, 2x plus 3 equals 0, and 2x minus 1 equals 0. And we'll solve each one. Well, this one you just move 2 to the right and change the sign, so it's -2. And this one, move it to the right, change the sign. This one, move it to the right, change the sign, and divide by 2. And for this one, move the 1 to the right, change the sign, divide by 2. We know this was in our list of roots as well as this because we were dividing by those. Look at this. -3 halves and a +1 half. Were those in our list of possible roots? From the very beginning, did we have a -3 halves and a 1 half possible in there? Yes, and you can also look at the equation back here on the graphing calculator. This was -2. Back over here you have a -1 1/2. That's -3 halves. This is a -1, and then back over here you have a +1/2. So we solved the entire equation for those 4 values.
So would that be our answer?
9x to the 4th minus 9x to the 3rd minus 34x squared plus 36x minus 8 equals 0. So we know that we have to start with this. We have to start with plus or minus 8 over plus or minus 9. And all of the factors of 8 are 1, 2, 4, and 8. And then all the factors of 9 are 1, 3, and then 9. So we can just start with 1 on the top and divide 1 by each of the factors of 9. 1 divided by 1, 1 divided by 3, 1 divided by 9. And then move over to the 2 on the top. 2 divided by 1, 2 divided by 3, 2 divided by 9. Move over to the 4. We have 4 divided by 1, 4 divided by 3, 4 divided by 9. And we can move over to the 8 and do 8 divided by 1, 8 divided by 3, and 8 divided by 9. So we can simplify these a little bit. We're going to have a 1, a 1/3, a 1/9. a 2, 2/3, 2/9, 4, 4/3, 4/9, an 8, an 8/3, and then 8/9. So we didn't duplicate anything in here. Now we have to go do what with that equation? What did we do in the last problem after we found all these numbers? Yeah, we have to graph it. So we'll go to the graphing calculator now, then we'll come back in just a second. On our graph, we came up with possible roots of -2 and +2, and we're going to divide both of those. Now, starting with the +2, divide that 2 into 9, -9, -34, +36, poorly written, +36, and then -8. Okay, so we'll take it to here. Draw a line, drop down the 9, multiply to get an 18, add to get a 9, multiply to get an 18, add to get a -16, multiply to get a -32, add to get a 4, multiply to get an 8, add to get a 0. So it looks like we came up with this. What did we just divide by? If we divided by a +2, what expression did we really divide by? X minus 2. And then the result came back as 9x to the third plus 9x squared minus 16x plus 4. So that's division by the +2 gave us that. We still have the -2 that we can divide by. So let's put the -2 here and divide that into the result that we just came up with, that 9x to the third plus 9x squared minus 16x plus 4. So that's a 9, 9, -16, and 4. So drop the 9, multiply by -2 to get a -18, add to get a -9, multiply to get a +18, add to get a 2, and multiply to get a -4, add to get a 0. So don't forget, we had an x minus 2 to start with, and when we divided by -2 in this last step, we were really dividing by what expression? X plus 2. And then we're left with 9x squared minus 9x plus 2. So we have that quadratic expression left here at the end, right there. And we can try to break that up, just like we did in the previous example with the expression we had there. Two quantities. Let's see if we can factor this. How can I break up 9x squared? 3x and what else? 3x times what would be 9x squared? 3x. Okay, if I have a minus plus in the middle, or in my expression here, minus plus, then what signs must be in these quantities? Minus, minus, that's right. So that makes it easier. Now to get a +2, I have to multiply two negative numbers together to get a +2. What's our only choice? Two numbers that multiply to get 2. 2 and 1. So let's just put in a 2 and a 1. But let's check it. If we multiplied 3x times -1, we would get a -3x. If I multiplied -2 times 3x, I would get a -6x. Is -3x minus 6x equal to -9x? Yes, it is. So there's your factorization. So now we want to set each of these equal to 0. So x minus 2 equals 0, x plus 2 equals 0, 3x minus 2 equals 0, and 3x minus 1 equals 0. This one is pretty easy. That's just x equals 2, x equals negative 2. Move the negative 2 over, change the sign, and divide. And move the minus 1 over, change the sign, divide. So you come up with 2, negative 2, 2/3, and 1/3.